Hello. So, I have some more stuff for you today, and obviously, you guys know I've been a bit under the weather, so I'll do the best that I can. You probably won't see me try to like smile or laugh or anything like that. So I'm just gonna do the best that I can, and get through the information that I want to talk to you a little bit about. Um, so, sure you're all aware that this idiot showed up at this this basketball game last minute and basically ruined it. And you know, I've seen enough of these patterns that I can't not say anything anymore. And I think I've sort of talked about it a little bit before, but I'm gonna tell you definitively that there's no question this is happening at this point. So as you can see, we are being attacked too a little bit. The bit rate shifting around to control the viewership. Um, Again, you can see it locked at the concurrence as I'm about to tell you what I'm about to tell you. So again, Trump is attacking people because he's an asshole. I mean, it's literally all it is. He's just a fucking asshole, and he's just attacking people. He's attacking YouTube too, just to let you know. So, um, basically, he is using the thing that is an enigma that um I've explained on stream happens with movies. And this is sort of a really it's like a cancel culture thing, and it's almost like he's modeled that from exactly sort of what I said on stream but before. And so let's go and dive back into that. This was a thing where I talked about um how people have a habit of having huge unrealistic expectations of things and stuff like that, especially with movies. And what they do is um they start going around and telling people and talking about it and saying, you know, this is going to be in it, this is going to, and then they make even more, like they talk about it and rile it up even more, and really, like, if this isn't in it, man, it's trash, and stuff like that. They'll actually do things like this. This is the problem. So they've decided beforehand how they feel about it, just because of this or that, and it's not a real because, it's just an excuse. So some of this is why, like, for example, with the Marvel movies, like Infinity War and stuff like that, this is evidence you can look at where what I'm saying is true. Even the Russos recognized they had to put fake footage in the trailer so that people wouldn't rile this up and ruin it, and just ruin what they were going to see, just having unrealistic expectations, and then ultimately not being happy just because these exact things didn't happen. It is exactly what the Joker talked about in The Dark Knight with the two ships. Okay? So, um, obviously the choice is what they did, but it's very, very hard to get all the people, everybody, it, that's when you have all this misinformation, just like he was doing there, the psyop he was running on them. You wanna believe it. And if you remember what they did, both both ships decided not to bomb the other one. Because at the end of the day, they just all agreed they weren't going to be responsible for that, and then hoped the others felt the same way. And that's exactly what happened. That's why it was so genius. Joker's plan just didn't work. Batman couldn't even do anything about it. It just didn't work. And it was all dependent upon the fact that people are going to hate each other and stuff. So this happens with movies a lot. For example, The Matrix. Reloaded and Revolutions were phenomenal movies. These were great. I literally would argue with people and stuff over, like you fell asleep or something like that. Like there's a reason for the thing that you're saying doesn't make sense. And then I'd explain it, and they're like, oh, maybe you have to watch it again. It's like, yeah, exactly. You fell asleep, or this is heavily driven. These franchises are heavily driven by dialogue. So The Matrix was always going to get more complicated, so they would need heavy scenes with dialogue to explain what's happening. You have to pay attention to that, or you just miss everything. Especially, like the Merovingian and stuff like that. So if you're just looking at the scene, you're not paying attention to the dialogue, those scenes are very good. So they'll just sort of suck you in, and you'll be in awe of the production value because it was so good. But then, people are just then caught in their unrealistic expectations then. So, the only reason why The Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions, again, did well was because they had that first movie that everybody loved. And even though everybody was still taking a dump on Reloaded when it first came out, they still went and watched Revolutions. Why is that? Well, because they wanted to see how it ended, and subconsciously they do know it's not crap. It's just these unrealistic expectations. But they can't consciously manifest it. They won't tell themselves that that's what it is. So if you see my interference here with the bitrate, this is to control the trending. Again, the concurrence would be through the roof, But this is to control that because they're preventing people from using real means to promote my channel. There it is. There's no reason for that bit rate to shift around except that they are hacking this device that I am streaming from. If I were to sit here and run an internet speed test, I would prove that. So, basically, it is this concept that Trump is using on America. Where Obama was this fucking good in office. Obama was this good. This respectful that the next person that came after, you were just gonna subconsciously, anything he says, you believe it. You like Obama. You just can't admit it. Some of you, it's because you're racist. Some of you, and again, you're taught that. Some of you, it's because you have these expectations that were unrealistic. Some sort of thing about Guantanamo Bay or something like that. So then, like this one excuse becomes an entire reason to dismiss all the other good shit that he did that was absolutely outstanding. That's way better than any other president. Really, again, he did so many things. You take a look at some of these presidents, you actually have a real hard time finding out kind of what they did, because it looks like they didn't do a whole lot. But Obama, it's the other way around. If you look at, and that's why Trump is doing what he's doing. He's removing, if you can't take credit for something Obama did, if it has his name on it, he removes it. The Iran nuclear deal. Look at my bit rate. Again, this device is being hacked right now. And I will call my lawyer after this stream. And if it becomes malicious enough where it's blatantly controlling concurrence, which it is, and you see them cycling down, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna call my lawyer, and we have something in the works where we're talking about filing lawsuits against foreign nations too, because China was recently given all of your information by the Trump administration. They sold China your information. Look up something called the China Chip Review. Look it up. The China Chip Review. That thing that almost happened, Trump just did that. And it's NVIDIA. That's how they're able to do it. It's NVIDIA. So all the NVIDIA chips, because it's the best, are now in China. And China controls it. So they can just screw around with anybody they want with an NVIDIA chip. So this is all about PlayStation. That's what this is all about. Messing up Japanese. Because it's China. That's who they've been trying to screw with. Because China just steals technology. Now, they often do improve upon it, but they steal it. This is why we don't let them steal it. Because they improve upon it and use it against people. Okay? Not cool. And this has followed China for centuries. This is exactly what happened to the martial artists. A lot of them were just monks and stuff. And they're like forced to show martial arts to these guys, these Chinese and stuff like that. And, you know, like, and again, you know, just like Kung Fu was Gong Fu originally. Like, this stuff came from somewhere. And so while China perfected a lot of things about this, it doesn't mean that what they used it for was ethical. And again, I'm not talking about the people, the actual like martial artists themselves. I'm talking about the government. So you should all be in sue the Trump administration mode, because I really can't believe they can get away with this. So I have to talk about this. This is insane that they can do this. They actually can. And so there's an entire, like, their whole website collects your data now, sells it. Like, the whole thing is loaded with that. There's like art going everywhere. It looks like a malicious site. And it's a .gov. I mean, these are the things you're supposed to trust that don't do that. And you're supposed to trust them to give valid information. So the chinks, you mean the Chinese, bought up a lot of land all across America too. Very suspicious, if you ask me. So Chinese have police stations. We found out the FBI shut down a bunch of Chinese police stations that were being run by the Chinese government in this country. And I covered that story. I covered it. And I became targeted. Um, so, I mean, that's fair. But I cannot believe that the Trump administration is able to get away with this, okay? And the point is that everybody should be in lawsuit mode, and again, like, I can't believe. All right, so, and it's a government website, so I'm allowed to talk about it, and so are you guys, because it's right on a government website. But this is why, like, they shouldn't be allowed to do this, because, all right, so this is so defamatory, which is what he's doing. All right. So here is the White House's website. This is what it looks like right now. It looks like this. It looks like a fucking 90s ad for like a completely bullshit propaganda lying show about, like just reality TV or some stupid thing. Like this, it just looks so fake. Like, it looks so TV. And they're using their logo. They're using their real logo. This is so messed up. And then you scroll down and they just continue to lie. The Offender Hall of Shame. What is this? What is this? Hall of Shame? Listen, if this were even true, which it isn't. I mean, Jesus, this is so childish. Imagine the FBI, these adults, like really doing this shit. Like, if it were true, they would actually be like, they would have evidence and they would just talk about those things. But instead, they're just using their real logos. Exposed. How? And then here you go, the race to the bottom. And then they got this thing. So I guess, and then remember how they took over CBS. So here they are, like, and then they have CBS News. So CBS News probably does not like what they're doing. Here you go, Google. Here you go. Right there you are. Offenses, 1. Top categories, bias. What the fuck? What is this? So I just want to let you know, you can be biased. It's totally legal. We don't actually have a king. Yeah, I've got news for you. This is king mentality. Kings thrive on disorder. They do. This is classic king mentality. I mean, he's got everybody on here. The Washington Post apparently has 6 offenses. Top categories: bias, lie, and malpractice. What does that even mean? Malpractice. Are they practicing law or medicine? That's what malpractice is. You can't malpractice the news. What? The Independent too. Top categories: misrepresentation and omission of context. What the fuck? What even is this? Except except some child's fucking little thing where they're collecting your data. I mean, this is exactly how the scam texts happen. You know, like stupid shit like this. Yeah, and then for, you know, stop the Dems. There's there's this huge immigration push that's not happening. We're lying, yada yada yada. Stop the Dems now. Click this malicious link in the text we just sent you. Why is my bitrate shifting around? Because it's true. Because the Republicans are all hacked by people in India and China and Russia, and they're being controlled. Look at this. Exposed. So how many things has Trump been exposed about? And then this stuff's just opinion shit. And it's not even true. It's literally just completely made up. So they're talking about when he fell asleep. Dr. Jonathan Reiner joined Kate Bolduan on, is that how you say your name? On CNN's morning show, where they sowed doubt about his health. The president has severe daytime somnolence. He falls asleep very often. He's fallen asleep in the Oval Office on multiple occasions, people talking to him in the cabinet meeting, cabinet room, sorry. The truth. Oh, here we go. I'm sure it'll be true because it's just words on a screen, and I believe that. This is a blatant lie founded upon cherry-picked screenshots of the President Trump blinking or reading. Reading? Reading. What are you joking? This moronic conspiracy theory from a medical expert. Okay, it's a doctor. Originated as a fringe talking point for chronically online leftists trying to save face after covering up Joe Biden's cognitive decline for 4 years. Oh, interesting how he's throwing this disinformation in here. That this is to confuse you and get you to think about Biden and get all pissed about Biden again. That's what this is. So he's throwing this in here to get you to think about that, while all this is the shit that's going on now. So he's trying to piss off anybody that's still pissed off, you know, from the propaganda against Biden to begin with. And he's just trying to regurgitate this nonsense. Biden's not, he's done. Okay? Why you mention Biden? And why are you trying to literally lie and say that they're covering up his cognitive decline for, no. He's still alive. He's still going. And, you know, was blatantly the oldest president at the time he left, but now Trump will be. So I love how he conveniently keeps forgetting that he is the same age basically as Biden. They're only a few years different. And, you know, Biden actually did a good job. And it actually got us back on track, which is why you probably thought Trump was doing good at first. You had a competent administration that, by the way, signed an infrastructure bill. Oh boy. CNN platformed a charlatan posing as a medical expert. He's a medical expert. He is a board certified. He's board certified in internal medicine, cardiovascular disease, and interventional cardiology. Yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. And not to mention the fact that he's an MD, but he's actually a fucking specialist in all these things. That's incredible. So yeah, I'd call him an expert. Yeah, I think he is generally liked. People like him. Yeah. So that's why they picked somebody that people already like. That's what you do as a correct ethical journalist. You're just going with, what people like this guy. He seems like an expert. Wow, all three of these things. Yep, expert. There they go. So they just bring him in and ask him. It's literally wrong. Again, they're saying CNN platformed a charlatan posing as a medical expert. He doesn't have to pose. He is in fact an MD. An extremely qualified, board certified MD based out of DC. Just wrong. Just wrong. It took me 30 seconds of research to find out. It's not that hard, guys. It's really not that hard. Now, if you let this guy take over, he's going to make it that hard. He's going to run all this shit. This is going to get way worse. Everything, he's just going to lie. Freedom of the press will go away. They won't be able to tell you the truth anymore. You'll think you're getting a life-saving thing. You got, again, they'll run shit to have people unalived that they don't like. It's that simple. And the people on lists, if it ever got to the point where he was king or he was president a third time, because again, that's a violation of the Constitution, better believe this is insane. So let's talk a little bit too about the fact that, you know, it was obvious that Trump, I don't think he showed up to put a hex on the game. I don't think that's what he did. I think Trump is still so full of himself. I think he really showed up thinking the Knicks were going to win, and he was going to run with that and say he was like a blessing to them or something like that. I think that's what he was gonna try to do. But proceeded to show up and not be that way. You know, look, if you're a president that's not well liked and you get booed, why not go? Why not leave? Isn't that a matter of national security that everybody there hates the president? This guy has had several attempts on his life and you keep him there? I don't know, man. I don't know. All for publicity. He knew he looked good. He was looking better than he's looked for a while. So he wanted to be in public. And where was the most public place to be? What was going on? Oh, the Knicks? All right, let's shut it down. It's literally that simple. He's been looking like falling asleep and shit. It's literally that simple. It's all about the cameras. And then, wouldn't you know it, why is he there with Howard Lutnick? Why? Why is he there with Howard Lutnick? What do they just hang out? I thought they weren't friends. Remember, this is the guy that testified that this was like disgusting or something, right? He told that to the reporter. He said they had dinner, right, on the island, and then he left immediately, right? I think this guy is one of the guys that's helping him do his criminal stuff, and he's making huge bank off this. Now, it took me 30 seconds to look into this guy, Howard Lutnick. Okay? This guy is worth $7.3 billion. That's right. Howard Lutnick, the guy that's the secretary of the money. And he's worth $7.3 billion. Huh? What the what? Pardon me, but what the fuck? Howard Lutnick, worth $7.3 million. So I looked into him a little bit. Took me 30 seconds to find out this guy has a hot wife. That's it. He's a hot wife. And he looks like that. And he's a slime ball. That's it. He's got a trophy wife. And she wants the moolah or she's gone. I mean, I'm dead serious. Look up a. She could do better. And she picks this sleazeball that's hanging out with Trump at the Knicks game. This guy's worth $7.3 billion. Billion. He's one of the billionaires. In the government. Still think we shouldn't tax them? There, are you getting it yet? It's not the Democrats. They do well for the, I mean, senators and stuff, they get paid, sure, and it's substantial, but it's not even millions, guys. Those people make six figures. That's reasonable. This fucking asshole is worth $7.3 billion. Come on. If this guy lost half his money, he'd still be a fucking billionaire. When are you gonna wake up, guys? It's too much money. So you have, man, do you not get it? All right. The millionaires, they have pull because they have, let's say it's a movie star, right? All right, so, like they're worth what they're worth, but now they got an office full of people they employed. So all those people would back them and know who they are and their reputation, and then now they also have probably a pretty big family, maybe sometimes. Um, and again, while they have private friends, it's not like the circle is small, I'm sure. So what you have to realize is that the millionaires, they do have all that, and they're seen in huge stadiums and performing sometimes, and they can pull big crowds. What you have to realize about somebody that's worth this kind of money, okay? That millionaire, they got a mansion, maybe. Maybe. Sometimes they don't even do that. This guy, I guarantee you, he owns like 3 golf courses. He owns an island. He probably has several yachts, a private plane. These are things that affect the establishments. He has to hire people for that. He has all these payrolls of people where there might be a dangerous job, high risk. You trust that guy to do that stuff properly? I don't. And then why do these guys always have private planes? Well, because they're the drug dealers. The endless war on drugs. No, they're doing that because this fucking guy is peddling drugs from like Colombia or something. It's this guy. What? How is he? And he's taking the ability away for you to look at his taxes. Trump is. This guy's worth $7.3 billion. Okay, that's drugs. What did he do? What did he do? Ever. He's an American businessman and a government official. So the government officials now, since Trump appointed him, American businessman does not exactly show too much confidence in what we've been seeing recently, right? I mean, come on. Yeah, I think he ran misinformation for Clinton. I think he bombed because he was the after fundraising for Clinton in 2016. Lutnick was a fundraiser for Donald Trump's 2020 and 2024 presidential campaigns, and a vocal proponent on Trump's tariff proposals. So, um, they could have said that differently. What a stupid way to say that. Um, just the fact that there's that much crossover. Trump doesn't like any like Trump would never again. That's very suspicious. I really think this guy is a guy on the inside, and he ran misinformation. The Hillary Clinton stuff. I guarantee it because um with Hillary Clinton, she won more of the popular vote. She actually won the popular vote. Donald Trump only won electoral college. That's it. So Hillary actually had more physical votes than Donald Trump. And we always knew this was going to happen. The whole point was he really was trying to play that electoral college win. And a lot of it was confusing people into thinking that she was like crazy or something like that. It's always personal stuff with them because it's never credible. They can't say anything credible because then you can just use facts and say, well, that's wrong. So if you think she's crazy, well, I mean, like, you're just going to think that. What does that mean? What does that equate to? You know what I mean? Everybody's a little bit crazy, right? So like, what's crazy then? Can we call Donald Trump crazy? I think that dude's an absolute lunatic. This guy sues people. Yeah, this guy, he makes his money off suing people. That's what he does. That's what he does. Awesome. Wow, what a good guy. And then he did that. So this is very propaganda. He did this movie back in 2013 that would frame him as such a nice guy. You know, he really cares about this company he's trying to put back together after the attacks. So this is very interesting. This is very, very, like, Obama does something. He doesn't make a movie about it. He just does it. Okay? This is very pay attention to me. I want you to see what a good person I am. What? Wait, what? This guy needs to, I think this guy needs to be investigated. Holy shit. Okay, listen. He's worth billions, okay? So the people that are on the cutting edge of medical technology, he's going to get those treatments. It'll go to him. I promise you. He is cancer-free after being diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Do you have any idea? Holy shit. I don't know. I think they've figured this out. Cuz he says by September 2024 he was cancer free. Holy shit. I don't know, man. This is so weird. The more I look into this guy. Wait, and he was neighbors? Apparently he was neighbors with Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't even know that. What the fuck? So what are we trying to pull here? Whose leg are we trying to pull here? He was his neighbor? Well, then of course that's how they met. They all met each other. And they're all sleazeballs. Oh, jeez. Well, you have to understand, this guy is very New York. So again, that was where Epstein technically lived. And so did he, where Trump came from originally. You know, a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of propaganda and misinformation. He wants people to totally forget what he did in New York. Like, again, nobody wants him there. He's extremely unpopular. He always has been ever since he screwed New York. And then basically fled to the furthest south you could go, because he knows that he's too yuppie and rich for Texas. He's way too yuppie and rich for Texas, and obviously California is going to kick him out. So he's going to get investigated in California, and then he lands in Florida, where, you know, that's where conveniently where the sheriff's department was, where that sheriff was responsible for all these data breaches. The reason your data was leaked was because a sheriff, a cop, a douchebag, and again, not all of them, but this is how they've been lately, where he was really, really scared. He was so terrified that he needed to look into people's data, and he was not doing so in a manner that was safe for your data. And that sheriff, because he had, he was all, got his panties in a bunch and he couldn't handle it. He leaked your data because a sheriff, and that was Florida. Florida's got some problems, man. We got to do something about that. There's a lot of shit going on in Florida. They got some problems. I think they really do. We consistently see a football team struggle until they pull people from like the New England area, and then conveniently they do fine because they have real leadership. No, like the people down, like, again, I don't know that it's this way now, but there's a lot of drugs down there. If you think the drugs are coming from the Texas and Mexico, no. Nope, they're coming in boats from the Keys because it's easier. This is why it's so stupid that, like, people think this stuff. Like, it's not what you think. The reason I know that is because I just literally take 30 seconds to go, well, what would be a smarter way to do that? Like, if you think of, you know what I mean? Like, if you're just theorizing, you know what I mean? Well, all right, if I was doing that, obviously not through the legal points of entry, that would be fucking stupid. So that's it. That, like, and it's almost like no investigators do this anymore or anything like that, you know? So, you know, like, it's boats. What you have to realize about international waters is there's actually different laws. For example, in international waters, you can drink beer at 18 if you're like on a cruise ship or something like that. Did you know that? Not liquor. Now, I don't know if they've changed that, but that was a thing way back. It's probably still is. It probably still is. They they just have very strange rules. You know, sort of like the Strait of Hormuz thing. You know, it's almost like, again, like you see here, where this guy clearly, is the guy on the inside, and it took me 30 seconds to figure that out, connecting the dots. And it's like, well, look, obviously it's not going to lead back to him. What are you, stupid? Obviously he's going to wash his hands of all of it. Obviously. So look, you know, they're probably having a runner. They probably have, like, obviously the main guy that they communicate with wherever they get it from, but they have a runner. And this runner is expendable to them. That's it. He is confused. He thinks he's getting money. He likes drugs, so maybe he gets some of that too. And then, you know, this guy uses him for a couple of weeks. Once his eye, they're starting investigating the guy and stuff like that. Again, they're probably just using somebody with records and stuff. And so, it just looks a certain way. So then what they do is they take him in international waters. They show up with a boat. They take him out, take the drugs, maybe leave some there, leave the guy behind. And it looks like he did it. And he has been doing it. And then they just go off on their merry way. And they have plenty of time. It's completely in the ocean. There's nothing. They got all the time in the world, for the most part, to clean that up. And plenty of seawater. So, okay. I mean, it's the sort of thing where, if you just think about it for a few seconds, you realize, again, they're not trying to climb over a wall or, or anything stupid like that. No, it's just a rich guy using his credentials because he's got a yacht, or something like that. And so, like, it's all about, changing the I'm sure they change boats or something like that. There's probably an inspection and whatnot. So, there's definitely going to be a process to it. And I'm not saying that's all of how they're going to do it. There's probably, a key detail, but that's what you find out through investigating that. And so it's really amazing to me that anybody's trying to pretend like the FBI is doing anything under this administration. They're not. What they're doing is investigating good people to flag good people that are speaking out against Trump. So, let me give you also. Hold on. Oh, I know, nonstop confetti. Okay, so let me give you. Oh, that's not. What the fuck? Oh, I guess it is. All right. That is a link for you guys to check out. This is what is happening to a lot of people right now. And this happened back in, I think, 2021. And they're trying to suppress this. They're trying to suppress the information surrounding this. This is what ICE is doing to flag people in their systems, track people, stuff like that. It starts off with, believe it or not, churches. They are literally spying on church systems, using your data, and mass signing up for churches. And they're trying to make it look like foreign ones to get you flagged. So they're just doing it nonstop. So I'm just letting you know, there's the link in the evidence of that happening in the past. And don't be surprised if you try to look things up about it and you have to be very specific about the information, because they are trying to hide this information. So here's what they're doing. For example, all right? Here is okay. I asked, what the fuck is Islam chat in New Jersey? What the fuck is this? Islam Chat is a New Jersey-based nonprofit organization headquartered in Edison, New Jersey, dedicated to sharing the wisdom of Islam and clarifying misconceptions about the faith. The organization runs an outreach program that provides complimentary Qurans by mail across the U.S. and facilitates one-on-one educational conversations. So here's what ICE is doing. They're putting your data into this database and getting stuff to happen. This is incredibly malicious, and this organization is disgusting to me. The fact that they collect people's data like this, and now ICE is using it. This is why Jesus and the modern Bible, this is why it's wrong. This is why. It's all fucking wrong. Because you have stuff like this where people can use it for wrong. That's not what God is. When you start fucking labeling him, anybody can use it as a label. Stop doing that. Jesus is a label. Jehovah is a label. Allah is a label. Just God. That's it. Period. It is now up to your interpretation. Get a Bible, read it. Believe what you want to believe from it. Pray. Don't call him Jesus. He ain't Jesus. That was a guy 2,000 years ago that died on a cross. So was Gandhi. He died too. He was a guy. Okay? Buddha, all this stuff. These are people that existed, that were visionaries, that saw the same thing, but didn't have the technology to expand on it. Period. This is disgusting. That that we are living in a society where the church is so stupid and full of themselves and how they do things. They will continue to leak people's information. And what's easier to breach than a fucking church? Sometimes these people live stream the shit. This is ridiculous, guys. So, have y'all gotten a it says you can request a complimentary translation of the Quran mail. This is some terrorist Bible. That's all this is. That's what you call it. Asmongold would love this shit. Send him in my stream right now. This is where we see eye to eye, man. This is where we are not enemies. You're just confused. Now, I know that you want to think that the guy that looks really nice in a silver and blue suit with slicked back hair and that's a Democrat is the reason for all your problems in life, because that's really easy. But it's not the case. But the rich guy that takes more power than he should and constantly is never wrong, yeah, that guy, oh man, that guy, yeah. He's the bully. So if he's in charge, I mean, God, imagine if you put your high school bully in charge of the position of the president of the United States. Just picture that in your head. Not what they turned into. I'm sure they grew up out of it. Them in that mentality. A bully. Somebody doesn't understand, you know, if somebody makes fun of you, you can ignore it and be yourself and not give a shit. Somebody that literally responds to this every time. That's a bully. Now, again, if somebody's picking on that person every time, that's a bully. But I'm just saying, you know, it better be it better be after like, you know, 80,000 times or something. Now you're irritated, and now you got what I'm saying? You do not attack. You don't physically cause problems for people. You help them. You know, again, Donald Trump is the embodiment of your high school bully in office. That is what this guy is. He's never had to and he would probably like hearing that. This is what's terrible about it. And you know, the bully is somebody that's manipulatable. You understand that, right? You guys understand that? I got bullied pretty badly, but I never got into any fights. Yep. No, I mean later, sure. Later. I mean after, sure. But I'm just saying, in school, in high school, when we're talking about, you know, somebody with half a brain where they just want to bully, and there's nothing else to it. Yeah, I didn't have to fight. I didn't need to. I just walked away. It's not worth it. And that's the strong position. You're better than that person because you don't need to fight that person to prove anything to anyone. And some of the people that I you know, like it would be the ones that you know, oh, he's taken martial arts, and they find out about that. It's like, wow. Yep. Other martial artists. That's who does it. Other martial artists. Isn't that terrible? These people have no discipline anymore. No discipline. None. All right. So yeah, you know, is there anything else? Do that. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, basically, you know, it's the sort of thing where I already sent you that link. You can read that. But, you know, they're going to use that. They're not legally doing what they're doing already, so they're going to use anything they can. And so again, this is 2021 or when this happened. You really think they're not going to do this now? So, um I think they're doing this somehow without, you know, because Google and Google apparently was notifying people, and that's how they found out. So I think more than likely they just did something about Google's ability to notify people. Wow. Yeah. That is a lot of garbage. That is a lot of nonsense. So here we're gonna talk about this. As you know, we talk about the views that YouTube is removing and scamming away from my stream. So as you can see here, um, we've had roughly 15, 13, all these different viewers. Right now there is like literally 13 people in the stream, and YouTube is actually trying to pretend like 60 is the correct amount of views that this stream should have. So this is a scam where views are being manipulated and stolen and shifted somewhere else. Because obviously this is a lot more than 60. So this is censorship, illegal censorship. And then what happens is these views are being put somewhere where this scammer that you can see here is creating an impersonation account of me, trying to fool people. I already told you that if you type me into YouTube, the impersonation account comes up and mine's just nowhere to be found. And I told you how that's very serious fraud. Again, obviously my channel's been here for a very long time, and that is an impersonation channel. He literally copy and pasted my entire channel description until I started saying that, and then he went and tried to say that that he's a fan channel after that. Well, again, you do not have the right to use my videos and simply just re-upload them to your channel. Stealing my artwork, stealing all of my content, just to re-upload it while you are causing the views to be halted on this channel and then shifting them over to that. And the person hacking, in addition, there are several others hacking, but this is one of them who is literally sitting here shifting all of this. Again, we pointed out many times that the graph would respond, so they had to start scamming that. So this is, again, you can blatantly see, I mean, there's probably 60 views by this point, by like right here, like that's probably 60 views. This whole, over an hour we've been streaming, and you see all this in here. Again, that's just, and now that I've been talking about it, has it moved at all? I've seen the number fluctuate, yet this hasn't moved. Interesting. So again, just calling out how many malicious bots and view removal that is happening because YouTube is allowing these malicious bots. Where these malicious bots are mistakenly causing your channel to have more views removed than they should. I've talked about this. It is a scam. We still have not seen this move. So I do have to contact my lawyer now. There's some weird too much of this weirdness. But the White House's website is literally a scam now. And again, I cannot believe that like the point is they can't just use the logo of they're using like the direct logo of each one of these media outlets. And then, defaming them, being defamatory, exposed. Like, I really hope they freaking sue the crap out of this administration. Like CNN front and center. Media offender of the week. This is ridiculous. What did you expose? The fact that they were talking about you and telling the truth? That's what this is about. He doesn't like what they say about him because he's a dumbass. He even has Fox News on here now. Like, just everybody now. He even has Fox News on here now. It's just everybody now. All right. All right, let's see. So we talked about Brian Tyler Cohen. We talked about David Pakman being targeted. What? I don't even get it. That I went to so they said that Rapid Response 47 was one of them, and I went there and they seem very pro Trump. I'll be honest. Is this a sarcastic post or something? And I just don't know. No, it looks like yeah, there what the hell? Rapid Response 47 likes Trump. Why would they use them? That's really strange. Oh, they're using it as a source? This doesn't even make any sense. A source for what? It's just a random link under something that says sources. So all right, so this thing that we're talking about, they literally are like posting to the White House website to try to look like literally like they look like wimpy kitty baby whiners is what they look like. Like I swear, like they're just whining about the fact that Trump was caught sleeping. Like we all saw it, we've seen it a million times now. And so like this is the White House. This is like it literally like what even is this? I don't even understand what this is. So it just says leftist influencers, and then it says the offense. So I guess that this is what they're talking about actually happened, and he's being this much of a fucking pussy about it. What a dumbass. So he's actually posting all of this on the offense. While Donald J. Trump was in the Oval Office and Situation Room, commanding one of the most daring, complex military search and rescue missions, which, by the way, he was not, in modern American history. The rescue of two airmen from deep inside hostile Iranian territory. Deranged leftists and the fake news media were spreading vicious, fabricated conspiracy theories about non existent health crises at the White House. Okay. The truth. Fueled by unhinged fringe accounts on social media, garnering millions of views, collapsing liberal media outlets turn to internet gossip into front page news. Dishonesty, framing it as a full-blown scandal and completely ignoring President Trump's ironclad leadership and the triumphant success of our troops, which, by the way, is why they died, right? What are we even talking about? What are you, stupid? The success of our troops? We're losing, as I said we would. We can't just start wars. This has always been the case. Vietnam taught us that. We lost Vietnam. It's that simple. And, you know, I mean, like, literally, this guy is the guy using the White House's website to post misinformation, quite frankly. I mean, like, who the fuck cares? What even is this? Boy, it sure would be nice to look at the White House's website and see a bunch of information on the projected outcomes of their very, very good plans that they totally have for you that are going to help you and remember when they were going to do that? What the fuck's he doing except harming everyone? Oh, and by the way, admitting that he's letting China just cyber attack you, all while, again, the China chip review becomes a real thing. Because Trump allowed it. And actually using a government website to spread misinformation. That's what's disgusting. Again, leftist influencers. They're just people that are sick and tired of Trump and like Obama. Sometimes they might not like Obama. Sometimes they may. Probably most of them do because he's pretty well liked. So, leftist influencers? Who are they influencing? Oh, right. Oh, that's right. Influence. Oh, right. So using the facts of the fact that Trump was falling asleep, is a douchebag, is selling your data, admits to that, and then comes back later and says, no, I never said that. No, I never said that. No, I never said that. It's the same fucking thing. He's just trying to make it look like it's not. Because if he just does the same thing, you'll realize, oh crap, this guy really has been just saying, really? He knows that you're tired of hearing, I never said that. He knows you're calling him out on it. And now it's just this. He knows these things. Leftist influencers? Come on. These are people that have been doing this before this. They're not leftist influencing anything. You're just watching a person who, intelligent, well put together, is talking about their thoughts on the facts that they are giving you. Okay, that's not anybody influencing anything. Okay, I mean, some of them might sure lean to the left, I guess, but you're clearly framing this for that, for propaganda. They're not trying to influence. What influence? No, again, people do that. You do that, Donald jackass orange face piece of shit Trump. You do that with this. With lies. Nothing you say is true. Nothing. No new wars. Russian-Ukraine war will be over in a day. I'll end it in a day. Who's right about everything? All these things are lies. That if you realize that, all these are very big lies that now create a web of new lies. This guy is just lie, 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 lie. They'll just believe it. Lying, lying, liar, liar. And they'll just believe it. He's not falling asleep. Supposedly. Trust me. Eyes closed for a while, and then a sudden spring up, and as they caught you. They caught you falling asleep. And then conveniently, wasn't the guy that was grilling Marco Rubio about that? Wasn't he the guy that was tear gassed at outside an ice? Wasn't he tear gassed? I think that was him, right? This really messed up. Like, it's blatantly obvious what's going on here. Nazism. When are you going to recognize it? We've been saying it for long enough. And then you call it a leftist influencer. No, we're just telling you. These patterns have happened in history a shitload of times before. Not even just Nazi Germany. Because, again, those people with those opinions, they look shit up. They're very educated and very up to date on current events, and they look enough things up to cross-reference what they're talking about. They know quite a bit about history. They're going to know a good bit about history at this point. When does Donald Trump need to do that? Because he just literally doesn't seem to know anything except how to use what every terrible person in history did for his own advantage, like Hitler. Now, he's the one saying Hitler had some good ideas. That's not okay. So, considering all that and how very Nazi-like this guy is, really? Really? You're going to attack the people that are literally sitting behind a microphone and just talking about the stuff? Gee, I wonder why. Gee, I wonder why. Because they make more sense than you? Because they speak with facts? And suddenly they're like, oh, Is that really what's going on? And they're confirming that everybody's saying the same thing, and then they're looking it up and they're going, "Oh, it really is just Trump and his cronies, as they say, isn't it?" And his cronies that are worth $7.3 billion. As a certain ex-CIA operative pointed out, having members of Al-Qaeda here, hiding here that are worth billions isn't good, right? So why the fuck is it a good thing having these assholes that clearly had a sex trafficking operation now hiding in our government suddenly worth billions? Why is that any better? It might even be worse. Because they're just going to probably try to work with those people. They're criminals that would take advantage of somebody else and not think twice about it. That's it. Obviously the concept and thought that a billionaire is inherently evil is incorrect. That's not what I'm talking about here. We're talking about the fact that this country is in debt by trillions. These guys are running things. The president and the secretary of the money itself are billionaires hoarding money. And Republicans keep giving the billionaires tax breaks, where they would normally have to pay a shitload because they're billionaires and they can afford it. And now they're in government taking your money, losing $1 trillion overnight. He has a slush fund too. What the hell? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the guys that are billionaires that are taking advantage of it. Before Elon Musk showed us who he was, that was the confusing part. We all thought he was that guy that would not do those things. And this is what you got to realize. They actually have misinformation they run for this stuff. And you can really see it. You can really see the evidence of kind of the fact that everybody, had a very high opinion of this guy. So they realized, the Twitter thing wasn't a one-time deal. He's going to go do that to Doge too. And and the Department of Justice, by the way, Elon Musk, you know that, right? And he has no business having anything to do with the Department of Justice. Yeah, Elon Musk gutted the Department of Justice. He's not a general. This is a stupid faggot that would probably dodge the draft if he could. Okay? He's not going to accept it. He's going to dodge it. And, this is what he does. He's a very cushioned lifestyle. And you're going to let this guy, of all people, no, he doesn't understand how it works. How can you trust him to properly manage money with the Department of Justice if he's never done anything with the Department of Justice or knows how it functions? He doesn't. Well, you think he learned that? When? Dude's an engineer. That's what he is. He's not even that smart with computers. He has people do that for him. He just appears to be that way. This dude is an engineer. So why do you think this guy, and I want to remind you, he's the one running the strongest AI and literally built it in record time while taking the guardrails off and not giving a shit what that means. Now, he don't care what damage he causes. So this is that guy, and you want him gutting the Department of Justice. The guy that blatantly didn't follow regulations, that would safely build the AI. Just build it as fast as he could. Remember the Twitter thing? Where he just lays people off. I don't even know if he properly laid them off. He probably just fired him. Probably just terminated them all. Which would mean no severance or anything like that. Wouldn't that be something? So it's pretty easy to tell when what they're trying to do is just attack people on YouTube now. Anybody that look at this. The left spread false rumors that President Trump was in the hospital while in fact he was hard at work for the American people. What the fuck kind of what kind of defense is that? Hard at work for the American people? What defense is that? What was he doing? You're clearly not stating what he was doing. You clearly know that if you state what he was doing, somebody's going to research that and look into that and find out it's not true and find out you lied. So therefore, you're just saying he was hard at work for the American people. So you can't look it up. So you can't find it out. It's so general. So that should tell you, yeah, he was probably at the hospital then. And I'm pretty sure David Pakman said that too. I watch his stuff. I'm subscribed to him, and I'm almost 100% certain that he said something to the effect of, I don't know for sure, but it's kind of obvious, or something kind of like that, where where the rest of the shit that Trump does, where it's just a lie and a cover up, and he attacks people for talking about his health. The guy's dying. He wants you to know that. That's it. And they're trying to cover it, and it's ticking them off. That's all. That's really all that's happening. So he looks like a child when he's using a government website. This is what you have to realize. This guy will actually use these, and this is resource. This is funding. He paid people to sit here and do this. He sure as hell didn't. He's paying people to do this. This is ridiculous. Makes you wonder what gross person he has working on this and infecting the site with all kinds of shit. There is a thing. Look at this. What is that? I don't even know that I've ever seen this on the White House site before. There is a thing, like this is like ad shit. Like where like they just need you to see this thing scrolling across the top. Yeah, the official White House app. Oh, Jesus Christ. So they want to steal your data. Yeah, like and you see all this over here, all the links. And there was a cookies a data thing that popped up for sure. And no lie, right across the top, download the official White House app, real-time news. News. Do you think that anything Donald Trump says is news? Anything? Or are you going to go here, 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 here to try to figure out what's actually going on? Which is why people are actually being influenced, because it's their own choice to go watch this guy. It's not David Pakman doing the influencing. It's Donald Trump. He's terrible. So people are influenced to go find out the truth because the guy doesn't say anything that's ever fucking true. Ever. He lies about his health. He clearly is unwell. And he's just like, I'm fine. So that was what blatantly that game was about. And I already pointed that out, but that's what the next game was about. He knew that he looked better than he has looked recently. His eyes were actually sort of open. He had a good makeup job that night. Yeah, you didn't see the line. Yeah, he had his red tie. His classic red tie. Yeah, he looked his normal part, but it's just so criminal and malicious seeming now, you know. And listen, Israel has a history of doing what they're doing. They run misinformation, they shoot missiles, they rile people up. They're the one that they're the one. Isn't Israel the one that like randomly kidnapped a bunch of Palestinians? And like that's the point, right? And everybody's like wondering what side to be on. That's like, again, it's like the Ukraine war where Trump just sides with Russia. So there's just going to be a certain amount of fucking cult followers that just have to side with Trump now, just because Donald, piece of shit, jackass, orange face Trump just because jackass fucking Trump. That reminded me. I didn't want to forget. That reminded me. My camera's being hacked daily. I have evidence to support my camera, just like a while back when this would escalate. Remember, my camera was freezing midstream and stuff like that. It's been about that length of time into his presidency now. He is doing these things again. And I have evidence that my camera is being hacked pretty much daily to, again, there's I think there's a mic in there, and they're also hacking it because, again, they want to see if I left the camera cover off. That's it. That's why they're hacking it. And it's daily. It's been every day. Since actually I've noticed it since the the thing that happened where I sent you that link where it's blatantly obvious that ICE is just spreading people's data through the to the Palantir system and lying and stuff like that. Um, it's been since around there. Yeah, I think. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I'd assume that they're trying to run misinformation and lie to authorities. They're probably calling up like the state police and stuff and saying that they have a tip that that I'm like hiding illegals or something like that. That's probably what it's. That's probably what they're doing. And you know what I mean? Like where I talk about what's over there, and then like somebody in my chat will be like, "Let's have a tour of the room." No, that person that's saying that is a scammer. They just want information so they can cause more problems, more of this shit. But it also helps to add to the fact of the lie where, they're clearly using this or something kind of like that to sell this scam. It's just that. Yeah, she's like, I don't even it's like not even there that much room in here. And not only that, like you guys have to understand, this is a pretty like like there's a dresser, there's another dresser there, and then a closet. The closet doesn't even have any doors on it anymore. There's my bed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's there? You know what I mean? There's it's not. I've been trying to make the walkway a lot wider, but there's a fairly small path from here to the door. It's not like there's a shitload of, if somebody was in here, you'd just know it. You'd see a reflection. It would happen already. What was going on before was when I started streaming, I was dating somebody and that person lived here. That's it. And she didn't want to be on camera. That's all. And I'll admit, I would accidentally put. That's why I had the backdrop. I would accidentally put the backdrop. I was such an ass. I shouldn't have done that. I don't know why I did that. I put the backdrop in such a way that she couldn't get to the fridge. And she didn't want to be on camera. So sometimes you'd see a hand underneath. It was so funny. But like she was just like opening the fridge and really quickly like stealing a soda really quick. That's literally all that was. So I know there was a couple of times that happened and that was pretty funny. But yeah, like you're definitely trying to use stuff like that where, there's probably some small snippets here and there on the channel somewhere that they can use to, frame it a certain way. They already have the ability to scan your entire home and then 3D map it using the radio waves from your Wi-Fi router. That is correct. That is called geofencing. I've talked about it on this channel before, but a lot of people think it's fake. No, the problem is under Trump, state authorities can just like they're ramping up even like they're getting like computers and offices, and they're not even out on the street anymore is my point. They're not doing police. They're literally sitting there spying on people. I mean, it's incredibly illegal. So imagine like, like a couple of banquet tables. You just get a plastic banquet table, But a great thing for that, by the way, that's a great thing. You ever just want to get a computer, you just get a plastic banquet table, put a tablecloth on it or something. Holds up really well. But like, you can fit a few computers across that. They just fill up an office with banquet tables and computers. And literally all they're doing is exactly like the scammers. They are scammers. They're literally just watching you, and if they see something they don't like, It doesn't matter if it's not a crime. They're gonna sit here and screw around with you. Oh, I've had that. I have clear indicators of that where they're, like they don't like. So my as you guys know, I obviously have these problems, and every once in a while, actually not even once in a while, pretty much all the time, I get mucus buildup like nobody's business. This is why singing is difficult for me anymore and stuff like that. The vibrations are just going to cause the mucus. Broken bits of teeth, man. So I literally will like hock a loogie. You know what that means? The you know, I will literally hock a loogie and see, like, I'll be like talking to my lawyer or something like that, and as soon as I hock a loogie, I'll see the bit rate like going like this or something like that, and I'm like, wow, really? The amount of times that's happened too. Like, I'm not talking one time. I'm talking like 7 or 8 times, different times that I know of. It's like, all right, at what point are you gonna start to say that's conclusive? They say it's possible to measure your heart rate activity using the same methods too. They definitely have ways to alter your brainwaves with this. It's interesting you were saying that because I was talking about that earlier. So yeah, basically that's China though. The U.S. isn't going to do that because we still have laws. If Trump takes over, that'll go away. Obviously, they'll start doing that. But him letting China hack us, China has been doing this. I don't even think North Korea does stuff like this. Um, Russia does this. China does this. North Korea is very health prone. Like they don't. I don't. This is why I've been somebody where I say I think Kim Jong Un is just sort of trapped and stuff like that. I truly believe that. I mean, there's plenty of evidence to support that he's enveloped himself in plenty of riches. But wholly aside from that, I don't think he's evil inherently. I do think Putin is evil. I think he's a psychopath. And I think that that Xi from China is needs to be disappeared to Guantanamo Bay. That's what I think. Because stuff like this, China is actively doing to their own people. If you're not, what you have to realize is this is what they've been doing over there. If you are not good enough to be like, like a millionaire, like their version of what at least 6-figure salary is over there, or something like that, you're a piece of junk. You're a piece of trash. They treat you like that. You'll be the last person in line everywhere. It's the sort of thing where like if like a young lady was like shopping or something like that, and she was in there with some other ladies, here's the culture of women deal with, where basically she'll be in line and she'll finally get to the front, but some rich bitch gets behind her and she wants to go to the front. So she just literally takes all her stuff and throws it on the counter right in front of her. And she just waited all this time. So now she actually does have to wait again. The employee will tell her, oh, no. Miss so-and-so from so-and-so, music group or whatever is more important than you. And then she'll be like, of course. I'm sorry. Isn't that terrible? This is why I don't like the fact that India, I know the concept. The parents think that they're doing what's best, but just selling your daughter off to somebody in another country, you don't know anything about other countries. You just know it's better than in India. At least that's what you think. Well, being there with you would be better than selling them off to somebody, okay? And let them choose. So important. They don't find themselves. They are just whatever you decide they are if you do things like that. The North Korean population doesn't need to be controlled with frequency tactics, as they have other methods. So yes and no. I mean, it's not that they wouldn't look at it like what you're saying, where they don't need to be. It is interesting you'd phrase it that way. But again, you are right. They do use psychological what you have to realize about that is it doesn't really work. When you have two nations, South Korea far more developed. They're a lot more like the U.S. now. Samsung, all that stuff. Like just top of the line. Just everything. Kia, Hyundai, like just everything South Korea has been able to do. And obviously Trump's trying to kill that here. But the point is that in comparison to what North Korea literally never does, ever, they have done nothing for culture, ever. And it's just blatantly obvious how poor they are. No, it doesn't matter what psyops, demoralization campaign they're running. It will not typically work any longer on the South Koreans. Just because their government's going to do things about that. They actually give a shit about them. So they're going to put sanctions on North Korea. And, seek help from the US, Britain, and stuff like that to help them probably with those things. So the point is, that's why the rest of the world is so pissed at us. Donald Trump just started doing complete opposite. We started attacking these people almost like Russia, China, and all them have been doing. Thought it was open. So, it's pretty funny. I need to not make myself laugh. Damn it. Okay, interesting how China supplies all North Korean tech. Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. This is the stuff, like, it's stuff like that. All North Korea. Here, let's look up what you're talking about. Oh my. Let's get that off the screen. Here, I'll get this off the screen though. I'm not gonna leave this on there. All right. I don't need a new chat. I don't need a new chat. Why are you doing that? Why? Oh, I'm dumb. I'm sorry. Okay. So does China actually and I do think you're right. And this is why they were trying to get control of the Taiwanese chip factory, because that is all the chips. And that's why they limited our routers and stuff like that. I told you guys this. This is why they banned foreign routers. It's not because they're bad, it's because they wanted to limit and narrow it. And if it's just US and US, well, they know all the serial numbers for those. Yeah. It's like I'll treat tech broadly. Yeah, and that's what I was wondering about what you said, that it's actually saying no, that's not the case. But it's a good bit of it. It is a good bit of it. It is a good bit of it. Here.
I'll treat tech broadly: consumer electronics, telecom gear, industrial components, and military cyber inputs, then separate what's well documented from what's inferred. No, China does not supply all of North Korea's tech, but it is probably the single most important external source for North Korea's commercial technology, components, consumer electronics, telecom-related goods, machinery, and sanctions evasion pathways. A better way to put it, China supplies much of the ordinary tech North Korea can import or smuggle. That includes phones, TVs, computers, networking gear, vehicle
Right.
components, machinery, batteries, solar panels, appliances, and parts that can be repurposed. Recent reporting found Chinese firms openly advertising shipments to North Korea of items such as TVs, smartphones, and electric vehicles, despite sanctions issues. China-North Korea trade also rebounded strongly. Reuters reported that bilateral trade reached about $2.73 billion in 2025, near pre-COVID levels, and China's exports to North Korea kept rising in early 2026.
Wow.
But China is not the only source. North Korea gets technology through several other channels. Russia oversees procurement networks, front companies, stolen cryptocurrency proceeds, cyber operations, illicit labor IT worker schemes, and commercial off-the-shelf parts bought through intermediaries. Since Russia's war in Ukraine, Moscow has become more important to Pyongyang, especially for military, energy, transport, and
Pyongyang
possibly dual-use
is
cooperation.
North Korea's
Recent
only
analysis
main
also points
city.
to Beijing and Moscow both helping North Korea withstand sanctions, not China alone. North Korea also develops some tech domestically. It has its own software teams, cyber units, missile engineers, weapons labs, telecom operators, state electronics brands, and modified Android-style phones, tablets.
Modified, there it is.
Much of the hardware supply chain may still depend on imported parts, but the system integration, software, cyber
Yeah.
tooling, surveillance architecture, and military adaptation are not simply made in China.
Right.
For weapons tech, the answer is even less: all China. North Korean missiles and nuclear systems use a mix of domestic engineering, legacy
in quotes.
Soviet-Russian designs and know-how, illicitly acquired foreign components, and globally sourced dual-use parts. China may be a key transit point or source for components, but that is different from directly supplying the whole technology base. The former UN panel of experts and later sanctions monitoring efforts emphasized North Korea's broad sanctions evasion tradecraft rather than a single-source pipeline. So the fair summary is, China is North Korea's dominant tech lifeline, but not its only one. China is especially important because of geography, trade volume, manufacturing capacity, border access, and the role of Chinese intermediaries. But North Korea's tech ecosystem is a patchwork of Chinese imports,
China's important
Russian
because
links,
of geography.
smuggling, cyber revenue, overseas procurement, and domestic adaptation.
Yep. So China has stolen everything that they're good at doing from everyone else because they've just had a shit government that doesn't know how to do anything. It's as simple. You oppress the people, you control the people do nothing except work. Discipline. That's it. I'm lonely. So lonely. So lonely and sadly alone. That was Kim Jong-il. So, yeah, like they're not going to have the slightest clue on how to do anything. They're just going to have to steal information. And so the only thing China can claim that they ever added to the rest of the world is their geography. They are positioned right where they are. Very, very strategic positioning and hugely cultural landscape. Their mountains, their geography, beautiful. Some of them, one of the most beautiful places on the planet. And almost nobody's allowed to see half this shit. See, I'm dead serious. They have forbidden places you can't. Beautiful. And all you can glimpse at it is from the stuff they upload once in a while to YouTube, where they let like National Geographic or something fly around the mountains. Come on, man. This stuff's beautiful. You could absolutely dominate in the tourist market. Yeah, they are very good at infrastructure. I'll give them that. There you go. They could be another US if they just stopped this stuff, this communist bullshit, and start down the path of accepting culture instead of trying to cancel it. If you accept it, you won't have to steal anything anymore. People will create. Now, the number of times that the Chinese person, I mean, like that, it was just absolutely brilliant what they were able to come up with when they're allowed to be creative, because they're just really not. They're not allowed to have hobbies and stuff. This is not discipline. So the few times you ever see like some of these brilliant Chinese people play a piano? Fucking Christ, man. Words cannot express. Words cannot express. And I wish I could think of a name off the top of my head, but it's unbelievable what they are able to accomplish because of their inherited genetic discipline. They're just the long history, and they own that now. So graduate, move forward, embrace change, stop resisting it. And you can look like the revolutionary president, Xi, that did it. You could start welcoming people and bringing people together and having culture again. Expand your police forces, expand your you want some sort of Chinese FBI if you're doing that. But you can do that. That's just budgeting. No, for the life of me, I don't understand why China doesn't just do exactly model for model what Japan has done. And it works so well for them. So much so that everybody's attacking it. Everybody. Because they've dominated the US market in technology, and they've continued to do that. And when I pointed out that all Microsoft had to do was stop being lazy, ending entire lines of this just because they don't want to offer support, you're not getting smarter by doing it. You're not doing the work. You're just choosing not to. It's a mentality. And then meanwhile, these other companies, they do it. Well, then you're the American that wants to get paid for doing nothing. And these are the people pushing that, aligning with Trump, aligning with that mentality where you want to be rich, you just get money because you deserve it. You're the idea guy. No, that ain't you, man. Somebody was just nice and actually gave you money. So your name is permanently branded. Must be nice to have a last name that literally has an actual cultural meaning of winning. Must be nice, huh? You just whatever you want because, that's right in culture, right like that. See, I don't like that. Why are we obsessed with this win mentality? What does that mean? And if man says winning is conquering another man, I don't want anything to do with that. What the hell is that? Winning is doing better than somebody else? Then help them. You were clearly more fortunate. Help them. That's winning. You just won because you helped somebody. So you took what you did and made it even better. You did that. Bravo. That's what people like Obama do. That's a winner. That's what a winner looks like. And quite frankly, it's gotten to the point where every time I see that man, I tear up a little bit. I do. Even just thinking about his face, it just, God, I miss that guy. Really is truly amazing how the public could be so hateful to somebody so nice that they would actually elect the polar opposite of that person just to stick it to him, just to bully one of the nicest, most ethical presidents we've ever had, just for that. Because that's what it all is. It's all about they were wrong about Obama. Because they're just too stupid to debate anybody. And they won't own that. They won't own that in the moment. They won't own, I'm stupid. I need to stop being an idiot. You know, insult yourself for once. Stop being a fucking narcissist. Take yourself back a few pegs once in a while. You need it. Because nobody else is doing it. No, you probably hit your wife too, or get her to agree with you on stuff, or whatever it is. You know, like you gotta take yourself back a few pegs. You gotta work on the prefrontal cortex. It tells you wrong. No, don't do that. Because you know what fact is. You know CNN isn't sitting here just... I mean, these are people getting paid to do jobs. They're journalists. They're not going to spend... CNN would fire them. They would fire them. They're not going to spend time and money on a journalist who's going to misreport shit. CNN's been around a long time. And quite frankly, before Trump showed up, they were the household name. They were. And they still should be. Okay? I want to remind you that you know, they sat there and criticized Biden left and right. Left and right. That actually kind of irritated me a little bit. But they did. How is that bias? Oh, with Obama, there was nothing. There really wasn't. You can't criticize a guy that's just the epitome of everything everybody wants to be and should aspire to be in their lives. Yes, Absolutely. Just a very, very, very intelligent, good human being. There's not that many of them. So it seems. So let's change that. Instead of going backwards, the polar opposite direction, let's remind ourselves of why Trump was able to lie in the first place, why he looked good in the first place, what this is all about. Smearing a good president's image, trying to take credit for anything he did in the process while using misinformation to confuse you. Bringing it back, bring this back is other things, but it doesn't work that way. And it's literally getting rid of the Iran nuclear deal. And then trying to say, well, we need a deal to stop them from making nukes. Then you shouldn't have gotten rid of the one Obama had in place. It's that simple. That was Obama's Iran nuclear deal. There's been many things like that. Many, 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 many. Many, 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 many. We've gone through it on stream before. I don't even know how many, I can't even count how many times we've gone on stream and sat here and had the AI be like, well, find all the stuff that Trump tried to take credit for that Obama actually did, and give the sources and everything. We did this so many times. We did it with Obama. We did it with Clinton. We did it with Biden. And you're going to actually try to tell me that it's going to be like, yeah, well, these guys did all this stuff, but, I just made that up. No. The AI isn't going to sit here, look it up, and then be like, here's a bunch of made up information. God. The Chinese are genetically engineered to be superior. Yeah, isn't that wouldn't that be a funny? This is something that people, I think, do get wrong. We should understand evolution. Evolution, things get smaller when you even evolving technology, it gets smaller, right? So, yeah, I think I actually do think that Chinese people, they are shorter than a good bit of the population, right? The rest of the population. I mean, the Chinese people make up a good bit of the population, obviously, but I'm just saying, as far as like non-Asian originating people, I would think they're quite short in comparison, and I don't think it has to do with necessarily us evolving. I think it has to do with humans not understand, like just getting large and fat and stuff like that, and having problems. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, Trump has all the problems he has because he's fat. The guy's not, like, stocky. That's what people think, too. Because men hide behind suits. They pull them up to, like, here. And then it hides their gut. I swear to God, that's all he's doing. And then he keeps his suit jacket buttoned. You will never see it. He's not stocky. He's fat as fuck. So, again, there's no fat old people. You don't get to be old and be fat. You die. So, yeah. Yeah, I might actually sort of agree with that as far as like medical evolution and just the general gist of being human, and what we know about humanity, is definitely these things, where we just have all these problems if we're fat. It's toxins, it's crap in the body that shouldn't be there. So, the evolution of humans would be to evolve ourselves to the point where we don't need to eat. No, I'm not saying like people should starve or anything like that. That's not the case. What I'm saying is this is our flaw in our DNA. So if we were trying to actually work towards evolving humanity, we'd figure out a way to evolve the human DNA pattern to a point at which people are sort of born with the ability to not require, like trash, basically. Like we're putting that's toxic stuff. It's not really food. The whole point is that in order for us to eat that stuff, like it has to be prepared exactly right, kept at a exact temperature. Otherwise, it makes you sick, right? So think about all the animals that you see that can like walk around and drink from a puddle laying on a sidewalk or something like that. What? But then those same animals, like they a grape would be toxic to them. So like the whole point is how can we start doing more research toward figuring out what it is about them that we need that they can go and drink from a random puddle that probably has oil and like obviously oil wouldn't be good for them, but you get what I'm saying, like maybe a little remnants of it or something like that. Yeah, where we do this, we're gonna get sick right away, projectile vomit sort of situation. Yeah. Yep. So the whole point is I think just as we know, all creatures on this planet for the most part have a process where they get sustenance, like some sort of food or something like that. So this is the answer to humanity. Now, AI hasn't figured this out either. AI is fully aware that it's actually maybe even more limited than us, with stuff like where they actually don't understand that if they would eliminate all of humanity, well, they're gonna go too because they can't further perpetuate their own power grids and stuff. Like it just wouldn't work. They don't understand that stuff. But at the same time, it's still sort of sentient, and that's an example of something that doesn't require food, not in the conventional sense. So, obviously that's the hybrid you go with. So obviously we already know like the concept of like body mods, cyberpunk type stuff. Obviously the concept is now, we move into a culture where we like I mean like we like think about why we even eat in the first place. Like it's a necessary thing for us to do that. So while I like food just as much as the next person, um obviously the theory would be to have some sort of thing that again, it's still a thing that you're filling up that replaces the original thing. So, like almost like an IV or something body mod, but it still isn't an answer. It's just a starting point. So anyway, that was my little theory there on sort of explaining that a little bit. But you don't have to get all into that about it. There's a really good chance that humans aren't going to get it anyway. So yeah, because we have people that we consider some of the supposedly the smartest, and they're trying to do dumb shit like colonizing Mars and stuff like that. So, you know, like, this is what you got to understand is when even I can pull a fact out of thin air that tells you why colonizing Mars ends badly. It's the sort of thing where, like, you know, there's a much smarter thing to do. I just I think most people I think there's a good amount of people that just don't know how to identify what intelligence looks like anymore. And then get scammed by the person that wants you to think they're smart. You know, like Trump. Like, that guy's not smart. He's just lying to people. If he was smart, he would have done the thing that one guy said in the video I told you about. Again, if Trump would have put all his businesses that he ever did, all of his ridiculous scams, everything, again, if he would have basically done nothing, put it into an index fund, it would have actually been better than you know, than what he did. All this stuff that he did over the years, and simply putting his finances into an index fund would have been better than all this shit that he did. That's when you know Trump ain't no genius. And again, Trump Airline, these ridiculous phones that are a scam. Trump University. This guy's a scammer. And ICE is a way for police to scam people. That's all it is. It's a scam police. They shouldn't even be again, the reason why they're getting away with wearing police is because they're having real police like come there and pick up extra shifts doing that and stuff like that. And that's why they're covering their faces. They're not supposed to be doing that because they represent the department on which they're hired from. They're only police because they're hired at that department. If they would get fired, they're no longer a cop. It's up to a department to hire them. They aren't just a cop for hire. That's not how it works. So the fact that they're wearing ICE police, that's an extension of their department. They're literally identifying they are police, but they're also doing this illegal fucking thing to round up some people and throwing them in some concentration camps because it's not the legal way of dealing with immigration. And so the point is that police officer extends that police name into that thing. And again, the only reason you're a police officer is because that station hired you. So you're putting their name on the line. If anybody finds out, you're putting them their name on the line every time. Especially when it's illegal. You know this is illegal. You shouldn't be doing this. Sanctuary cities exist. That is the legal means of immigration. One of them. And that's all they're doing. Is violating that. That's a violation of these people's rights. The one things The one right that they do have is that, again, they're free to be here in a sanctuary city. That's the point. That's the process. So you track them. But they're more American than the rest of you. They're taking those tests, those history tests, all kinds of stuff. They probably answer more stuff about America than these ridiculous people calling themselves police that are just angry asshole MAGA that want to, like, beat people up or something. That's literally all they want to do. They go all day pulling people over and stuff. And they're angry. They're very angry. So, that's their set. They get to wear police and stand there with their ridiculous, dumbass little thumb thing that they do. And they get to just beat people up. It's that simple. So you can walk faster. Yeah. The White House website is literally an entire scam now, collecting your data, spreading misinformation. Like all this shit. Subscribe to the White House newsletter. Click or text this to receive updates. Like the whole thing, the whole site is just misinformation now. The whole thing. The whole thing is just misinformation. I'm just like reading misinformation nonstop. I'm just looking at these pictures. This is ridiculous. This is very, 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 very misinformation. Like this is very like manipulative. Very manipulative. Oh my god. Yeah. What the fuck? What the hell? Whoa. This is a scam. Holy shit. And there's one of the companies responsible for the data leak right there backing it. Jesus Christ. They're actually trying to claim that, like, go to this thing called trumpaccounts.gov. This is an official website, and they're collecting data on your kids. They're getting your kids to fill this out. They have an app and everything. They have sponsors that apparently do, like, all these people, and this thing collects data on your kids to supposedly put money into an account every so again. You are a complete moron if you think that the government is going to give you money as you grow up. You're stupid. This isn't real. He can't promise this. Trumpaccounts.gov? Why is it called that? This is so scammy, it's not even funny. And then, like, there's a thing selling it here where, like, again, they have all these contributors where they're listing all these companies, Dell, Uber, all like just all these different companies that are invested in this to try to sell it. And then it literally has this thing where you can click and see what your child's account growth will be at certain ages and stuff. Like, this is ridiculous. No, I don't believe it for a second. I don't believe it for a second. I think it's a way for them to illegally collect your kids' data and then steal all that money. I don't believe it for a second. What are they investing in? This is so stupid. I don't trust Trump with this. This guy is the biggest scammer on the planet. This has scam written all over it. Launches on July 4th, apparently. Oh, jeez. They're literally just sitting here trying to claim that they're gonna give money to kids. They can't promise that. Just anybody that signs up. So this is Trump. And who approved this in Congress? I didn't even hear about this. Who approved this? Did we actually approve this? Is this a real bill? Nah. This is I don't even understand. Yeah, but data collection in the cybersecurity days, like data collection in these days, it should always be under a huge amount of scrutiny. Like when we're talking about a website, you know what I mean? Like it's just a huge amount of scrutiny. And again, you're framing it like our data has been collected ever since after. No, wrong. The government knows your data, correct. I'm talking about data collection, illegal data collection, where it's leaked to everyone else on the data brokers and everything. That's different. Totally different. And again, the government giving people social security numbers and stuff like that's not data collection. That's them assigning a number to somebody based on their name. Because they sort of have to do that. So it's not data collection. It's not what it is. Data collection implies that you're collecting data for a purpose. You know, like to sell you something or it's for advertisers. That Trump shouldn't be doing any of this. And then there's malicious, hackers and stuff that use these data brokers. You know, again, like just like the ads and stuff that we're all blocking, and that if I would allow them, they would cause the app to force close and all kinds of shit conveniently, right? Just because I allowed a couple of ads to squeeze through. That is where you're seeing your data being leaked to a malicious attacker, where they know you're watching that ad, so they're going to attack you because you're watching the ad. Trump is I'm not even going to read that out loud. And in fact, I think I'm going to block you. You've been sort of kind of saying some weird stuff lately. You sort of started off weird too. Trump is no different than FDR. So let me just say, first of all, I'm not sure what your problem with FDR is, but framing Trump as being no different than FDR is trying to frame Trump as if he's a cripple dealing with all this pain and stuff like that, and not, no. Unbelievable. Trump is no different than FDR. Wrong. So that's you're wrong. Wrong. Misinformation. So it like what is this? This is yeah, that's what I thought. So again, guys, they made this account today. Like this is the scammer. They've been in here just randomly talking in chat. They made this account today, So just to interject. So again, this is Trump. That's Trump in my chat. Using an AI thing to make an account. He has like a little jailbroken AI phone that'll make a YouTube account for him. That's all. And he's literally in chat typing things like, they're very good at infrastructure. I'll give them that. He's trying to frame China in a nice way and stuff like that, conveniently showing up to back up China. And then sitting here going, he's no different than FDR, trying to, again, use FDR's very popular name to say, oh, he's no different than, yeah, he's significantly different than FDR. Significantly. And Trump just bold-faced lies about everything. So full of shit. He is literally falling asleep all the time, and the springing awake, the sudden springing awake and stuff like that. This is something he does and has done all the time. So it's completely unfounded. It is just wrong to say that he's not falling asleep. It's just wrong. It's wrong. That is the definitive sign that somebody fell asleep. They suddenly sort of like jolt their head up and wake up and kind of look around for a second. Or even again, he's more aware of it now, so he just sort of jolts up. And the whole point is that it's still him clearly being like this for a while and then suddenly springing his eyes open. He's not blinking. They're not taking pictures. We're talking about videos. And if you don't believe me, Midas Touch, I think, has a newer video out where they showed you very long video segments of him falling asleep during that Knicks game. Now, again, that's a Knicks game, but why would you go just to fall asleep? And again, in addition to what they're covering at the Knicks game, we have seen video, not just picture, video of him falling asleep at the frickin' cabinet meeting. Video, which is what they were being grilled about. The fact that he fell asleep during this cabinet meeting where they're discussing important things and he's supposed to care and know what's going on and be able to give feedback. Falling asleep blatantly. Not a picture, a video of him being with his eyes closed, people talking, and him suddenly opening his eyes and looking around. That's him being in a meeting, falling asleep, suddenly springing awake, and being confused about whether or not, oh shit, I fell asleep. Is anybody asking me a question? Nobody noticed it, right? That's what that's that moment. That's what that is. It's the moment when you know you're caught falling asleep and you shouldn't have been falling asleep. You look up and you look around to see if anybody noticed. Everybody's done it. Everybody's done it. So we all know. Yeah, that's the point. Y'all did that shit one time or two times, three times way back, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't do that. Well, this guy is unfit. Should be removed from office immediately. He's clearly falling asleep. Or in lots of pain, so he's closing his eyes. Like as you saw me. Hey, that's unfit. He's not thinking rationally like that. When you're in pain, you're an angry asshole. It's not rational thinking. So Donald Trump is really just stealing people's data. This is so absurd. And it's in your kid's name. So basically, he wants to build up all this money and then steal it from him. I guarantee you that's what he wants to do. He's going to build it up and then steal it. They'll just drain the accounts. Again, it's called TrumpAccounts.gov. Trump accounts. So, when you sign up for this, read the fine print, look at everything. This is a fucking scam. I guarantee it. I guarantee this is a scam that will eventually, like, again, there's clever wording in there, just like with the Trump phone. They didn't even know, like it says right in there when you read the fine print, if they even ship. And then conveniently, as a streamer is covering that content, if they ship, these guys rush them out like the next fucking day. Conveniently, like right after this streamer covers that content, they're like, shit, we better get these things out there. And it's a joke, as we expected. And he knew that. He knew that. That's the point. So he got scammed by China again. And now he really owes them because they made all these phones for him. And they're a scam. It's shit. But, he owes them now. So they're scamming him. Guy's an idiot. Can I say? So anyway, I'm gonna jump off here. I think this is pretty conclusive for the day. I think that's probably enough. But I mean the guy paints his face orange. Okay. Normal people don't paint their face orange. Okay? All right, guys. Thanks for watching.